So let's talk a little bit about failure. So I'm reading this book, in case you haven't heard, reading's actually cool now because it gives you information, by John C. Maxwell. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him. But this is his Maxwell Daily Reader. And it's really simple. I love the way it's broken up because it's got a message for every single day. And shout out to Dawn Hendricks for getting me this book. I love it. Thank you. And so today's March 3rd. And his message today is failing backwards versus failing forward. And I wanted to share a couple things with you from this because I found it to be very powerful, and I think you will too. So look at the way any achiever approaches negative experiences, and you can learn a lot about how to fail forward. Read through these two lists and determine which one describes you and your approach to failure. So listen to these two lists. I want you to decide which one sounds most like you. So failing backward, blaming others, repeating the same mistakes, expecting never to fail again, expecting to continually fail, accepting tradition blindly, being limited by past mistakes, thinking I am a failure, or the last one, which I think is a sin, quitting. We don't quit here, right? So that's failing backward. Now if we look at failing forward, which is kind of a confusing statement, right? Because how do you fail forward? If we view failure as going backward, right? But there's actually a way to fail forward, and you guys have heard me say this. Failure is information, right? It's data, it's knowledge, it's experience. But so let's take a look at the failing forward habit list. Number one, taking responsibility, which is probably one of the most important. Learning from each mistake. Knowing failure is a part of the process and embracing it. Maintaining a positive attitude. That can be difficult at times, of course, when we're going through failure. Challenging outdated assumptions. Taking new risks. Believing something didn't work. And persevering. And then this is the last one I wanted to share with you. So no matter how difficult your problems were, the key to overcoming them doesn't lie in changing your circumstances. It's in changing yourself. That in itself is a process, and it begins with a desire to be teachable. Okay? So it's not about changing your circumstances, it's about changing yourself. So after hearing those two lists and those traits, which one best describes you? Are you someone who fails forward, or are you someone who fails backward? Because whether we're in personal or business, failure is inevitable. It's going to happen, right? But we ultimately get to decide how we respond to that failure. Failure can be one of the best assets you have in life, or it can be one of the best liabilities you have in life. It's all about how you respond to it. So if you fail backward, of course you're going to fail backward, right? You're not using that failure as experience, you're not using that failure as information, and it's useless. But if you view it as information, if you view it as experience, so that way when you're in that position, next time around, you know exactly how to handle it, and you're stronger for it. So again, we have the choice. There's really two options. We can choose to fail backward, or we can choose to fail forward. The choice is yours.